This is massive. According to multiple NBA insiders, they're reporting that the Knicks and the Washington Wizards are currently discussing a trade involving Mitchell Robinson. We're going to break down these latest reports and potentially if Robinson will be traded to the Washington Wizards. We're going to break down all of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The Knicks and the Wizards are discussing a Mitchell Robinson trade. It was only a matter of time before these trade talks started to increase. We are only a few days away from the NBA draft, and a lot of NBA insiders believe that the Knicks are going to make a massive trade happen either before draft night or during draft night. And that trade could definitely include Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft. They have an early second-round pick with pick number 38. They have Bojan Bogdanovic. They have Deuce McBride. They have Mitchell Robinson. They have a lot of these other players in contracts that they can use to facilitate any trade that they want to get an impactful player on this team. However, when you hear that the Knicks are talking to the Washington Wizards, the number one question that has to come to your mind is, who's going to be involved in that trade? Because if you look at the Wizards roster, who really could you want on that team? The only person in my head that I potentially would want from the Wizards to join the Knicks would be Kyle Kuzma. But would a trade for Mitchell Robinson, Bojan Bogdanovic, Deuce, and a couple of picks get it done? Would that be worth Kuzma? Would that be an overpay? That's some of the things we have to think about. But before we get there, let's break down the latest reports about the Knicks and the Wizards and their trade discussions. Shout out to Ian Bagley, an SNY NBA insider, for giving us the following information. According to him, so the fact that Mitchell Robinson's name has come up in some of the Knicks trade conversations with opposing teams isn't all that surprising. The Wizards are among the teams whose talk with the Knicks have included dialogue on Mitchell Robinson. I'm sure several other teams have talked to New York about Robinson as well, their 26-year-old starting center. If the Knicks decide to move Robinson this offseason, it would be surprising if they executed a trade before or during the NBA draft. One thing is clear here. After these reports, the reports from last week, Mitchell Robinson's time with the Knicks is on a clock. It's limited right now. It's likely he's going to be traded. If it's not during this offseason, it's likely going to be during the season before the trade deadline. Either way, it seems like his time with the Knicks is going to come to an end. And if that's the case, as Ian Bagley reported, there are going to be a lot of teams looking to trade for Robinson to help them with their center position. And one of those teams, as Ian Bagley just mentioned, is the Washington Wizards. Now, of course, Washington, being a rebuilding team, they need a little bit of everything. So, of course, they could use Mitchell Robinson, his rebounding prowess, and what he could mean for their center position. But if they're going to execute a trade for Robinson, we have to think about what the Wizards could give us in return that we would actually want. Because apart from Kyle Kuzma, who else is a part of that roster that the Knicks would actually be okay with trading Robinson, maybe Bogey, and a couple of picks for? And maybe Bogey's not involved. Maybe it's not a couple of picks. Maybe the Knicks just want to trade Mitchell Robinson to the Wizards and just see what they can get for him straight up. Maybe it's an impactful player. Maybe it's a couple of picks. Maybe it's something that they can utilize in the future to help make this Knicks team better. But that's exactly what they're looking for. Now, Ian Bagley did mention in a report last week that the Knicks are not looking to move Robinson just for anything. They are looking to get something impactful back for him. And if they can't do that, they're likely not going to trade him. And I respect that motivation there because there's no need to trade Robinson just for anything. Because when healthy, he does help this Knicks team. He does have an impact and he does help contribute in a positive way. My only thing with Robinson is, regardless of his impact, it's about availability. The only thing about how good you are is how good you are when you're on the court for the team you're playing for. And the unfortunate part is he's been followed by injuries each and every year of his career. It's not about ability. It's about availability. And for Robinson, that's a big issue. How can you justify paying your backup center $14 to $15 million a year and he misses half of the games he's supposed to play? It just doesn't make sense for me. And if the Knicks want to stay out of the first apron, definitely want to stay out of the second apron, the only way to do that is to make sure you improve the roster by making the necessary trades, but also by reducing the players you no longer need. Mitch was good. Great. He served his time here for the Knicks very well. But it's time to let him go. We don't need Robinson anymore because of the emergence of Isaiah Hartenstein. That's the reason why we can say bye to him. And it's not like we couldn't use him as a backup. The problem is he's not going to be available each and every time. We're going to need him as a backup. When you factor all those things together, the thing that makes the most sense for the Knicks to do is to draft Isaiah Hartenstein's backup and trade Mitchell Robinson for something impactful that they can use to build this roster further moving forward. The Knicks need to consider all of their trade options this summer because I've said it in a couple of videos before. The Knicks really have the window of this offseason going all the way to next year's trade deadline to make a trade for an all-star or a superstar player. Because if they don't, doing so in 2026 and 2027 is going to be extremely difficult because of all the financial obligations you're going to have to the roster. Jalen Brunson is going to need to get paid. OG Anunoby's going to be being paid. iHeart's going to be getting paid. You're going to have a couple of other players on this roster that might need a new contract or might need to get paid as well too. The Knicks are going to have to consider all of this as they move forward because their window to win a championship has started. It's right now. It happened after the emergence of Jalen Brunson. And that window for me is about 4 to 5 years. That means the Knicks have a chance to win a championship within the next 4 to 5 years if they make the right additions and the right moves. And that all goes back to Leon Rose and this Knicks front office. They have waited for this exact moment to be set up with all of these picks, all of these players, all of these contracts to make a major trade happen. Now, another reason to think that that major trade will happen with the Wizards is because the Wizards just hired the following executive. According to Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, he states, longtime NBA executive Troy Weaver is joining the Washington Wizards front office as senior advisor. Now, why is this important? The main reason this is important is because if you look at the Knicks, their track record and the number of trades they made over the course of the last couple of years, they have done a lot of business with the Detroit Pistons. And who was the president of the Detroit Pistons at that time? I believe it was, Troy Weaver. So it's clear if he's part of any organization that the Knicks are going to trade with, it's going to be likely that a trade is going to happen. So Troy Weaver joining the Washington Wizards, at least in my opinion, makes the chances of a trade happening between the Knicks and the Wizards a lot more likely. And if that trade is for Mitchell Robinson, I can only hope that the Knicks get back something impactful or something substantial that they can utilize to help make this team better moving forward. Because that's the main goal right now. We're looking to win a championship. We cannot make any wrong moves because making the wrong moves right now could make this franchise go back a couple of steps. And we cannot do that. We already waited so many years to get right here, to be in this position, to have the roster we have right now. We cannot afford to make a mistake. We have to lock in, we have to stay focused, and we have to remain patient. The Knicks talking to all of these NBA teams potentially about a Mitchell Robinson trade tells me the writing is already on the wall. If you're a Mitch fan, if you love his impact, if you love him being on this Knicks team, it's time to get ready to say goodbye. The Knicks know what I know. They love this team, but they love this team enough to know who to let go of. Mitchell Robinson is the player that you let go of. You can sell me on his contract. You can sell me on his impact. You can sell me on all of that. But what I'm looking at, what Leon Rose is looking at, what this Knicks front office is looking at is availability. And if you are not available when they need you the most, then why are you on the team? Why are you on the roster? What's good of an impact if we never get to see it or we don't see it when it matters the most? It doesn't help the Knicks. It doesn't help Robinson, and it doesn't help our goals. And when you think about it like that, it is no surprise at all why the Knicks are fielding trade offers for Mitchell Robinson and potentially why Robinson will be traded this offseason. Whether or not that trade is to the Washington Wizards, the Pelicans, the Lakers, or some other team, that's anybody's guess. In my opinion, it's all going to be based off of what you can get back from Mitchell Robinson. Whatever we can get back, the most we can get back that's going to help this Knicks team get better, that's the trade we're going to execute. If it's a couple of first-round picks and a very impactful role player, then that's what it is. If it's a star player, but we have to include Bogey, then that's what it is. The Knicks have options, and they have realistic options to make this team better. One thing that these reports coming out has made absolutely clear to me, and I'm sure clear to you guys as well too, is that the Knicks are looking to win now. They're looking to make major trades happen. And as of right now, one of those trades is going to involve Mitchell Robinson. The player we get back or the assets we get back is all going to depend on the team we trade with. But getting back significant assets for Mitchell Robinson, a significantly injury-prone player, regardless of how good he is when he's available, that's going to be a major win for this Knicks team. And if I know anything about Leon Rose and this Knicks front office, they prioritize making winning moves for this Knicks team. And that's exactly what's going to happen this offseason. They are not going to waste this opportunity that they created by going after any and every star available and wasting our assets on somebody that doesn't fit. Right now, it's clear. The goal is to get an all-star that fits this team and helps the culture moving forward. And the first domino that starts that might be Mitchell Robinson. But what about you guys? What do you think about these latest reports indicating that the Knicks and the Wizards are discussing trade scenarios involving Mitchell Robinson? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.